Next up on my gaming journey, it is the PlayStation 3. Hi everyone, hope you're doing good. Thanks for pressing play once again. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and welcome to the next episode in my gaming journey, formerly known as my retro journey. So this is a series where I've been taking you through all the games in my collection for each of my consoles, roughly in order that I had them or bought them back in the day. And we brought it right up to date now, so we've sort of put the retro stuff to one side and we're now just on my gaming journey. So I've done quite a few of these, but next up is the PlayStation 3. So the PS3, me and the 3. Well, back in that generation, I was very much an Xbox 360 person. I played an awful lot of the Xbox 360 games on that console, and that was pretty much my console of choice during that gen. So the PlayStation 3, though, obviously came out with some games that were on the 360. So I'm thinking of games like Metal Gear Solid 4, Uncharted, things that, I was kind of watching from afar, playing on my 360, but sort of thinking, yeah, I wouldn't mind playing some of them. So eventually I did get a PlayStation 3. I got one of the big chunky PS3s, one of the originals. It was actually the one, I can't remember what gig drive it was or anything, but it's the one that used to be backwards compatible, so it's quite handy to play PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 as well. So I had one of those for a little bit, played some of the games like Metal Gear, Uncharted, but I was always still sort of stuck with the 360. That was my console of choice. And I think in the end I did actually sell or trade in my PlayStation 3. I think I might have traded it for my PlayStation 4 in the end, possibly. So yeah, I didn't actually keep hold of that console, and in general I do tend to keep hold of consoles. I don't, very rarely sort of sell them on. So yeah, sold the PlayStation 3, and then obviously when I started to rebuild this collection and start collecting again, one of the first consoles I bought, after my PSP that is, one of the first consoles I bought was this PlayStation 3. So I got this, I can't actually remember where I got it from. I have a feeling it might actually have been eBay. It might have been eBay I got this, and I got it for a decent price, not boxed or anything like that, but a PS3. Now that's a PS3 Slim, isn't it? And this is the model that I quite like. There is another version of it, obviously the big fat chunky one, and there is the one with the sliding cover for the CD drive, DVD drive or whatever, but this is the one that I quite like. I think this is the Slim, isn't it? So yeah, PS3. It's a console that I've been really sort of trying to catch up with over the last few years, because like I said, I played one or two games when I had it, but in general there was quite a lot that I didn't play. A lot of games that were on my 360 that I played then that I sort of fancied then playing on the PlayStation 3. So it's been a console I've been sort of concentrating on quite a bit in terms of gaming and collecting for it, and I've built quite a decent collection of games. Right, so in terms of this video and this series, if you've seen any of these videos before, you know what this means. It means I go through all of the games that I've got for this console. Now what I've decided to do, and I think I've done it with the last couple, I'm going to split this into two because there's too many to go through in one video. There's enough here for one video already, but I've decided to split it in quite an easy way to do it actually. So the way I've split it, and it's quite handy because PlayStation gave us two versions of PlayStation 3 games, the black labels and the red labels. You will know what I mean when I show you. So for example, that. So all of my games with the red label on, which are basically like the earlier PlayStation 3 games in a way. So I'm going to take you through all of those games that I've got. I'm going to start off with the game that I got first though. I always start with the game that I got with the console. I always keep the game that I got with the console. Alright, I didn't in this instance because I sold it on, but I rebought it. And that game is Metal Gear Solid 4. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get a PlayStation 3 originally. I did like Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm sorry, I just didn't quite get Snake Eater. It's an amazing game, I get it, but it just wasn't for me. So I wanted to try Metal Gear Solid 4, and I have to admit, it was kind of, I did enjoy it, but I've never played it since. I've never touched it since. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4, that was the one that I picked up originally. Cheap as chips these days, this one. I do have a different version of it, so MGS4 will be mentioned in the second part of this video as well. But that was the first game. Right, so we're going to move on to the rest of the games, and that is it. I'm just going to show you every game, might talk about one or two of them. First off, I thought I'd go through the sort of limited editions of Steelbooks that I've got. So first up is Infamous Special Edition. Absolutely amazing front cover on that one. Nice edition of that. Need for Speed Shift. Again, bit of a special edition, this one. Not a Steelbook or anything, but it does have that rubber tyre sort of casing on it, which is quite cool. Of course, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, an absolute classic. Steelbook, that one. Killzone 2 as well, another Steelbook. Let's just ping that one out. There we go. We've got Resident Evil 5. That's a nice Steelbook, I do like that. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2. That's a mouthful. I think I got that in a charity shop, quite cheap. Chorok. This one's one of the worse or worser looking Steelbooks that I've got, but it actually kind of works. I quite like this Chorok game. I preferred this one to Chorok Evolution. Everybody raves about Evolution, but I think this was quite good actually, that Chorok. Shame that was pretty much the last we saw of the character, but there you go. So yeah, Chorok. And then this one, again, I just got this because it was because it was a Steelbook and it was cheap. I've never played this game. Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. It's quite a nice Steelbook and it's in really good condition actually. But yeah, I've never actually played it. Will I ever play it? Well, who knows? Right, so now we'll just move on to the regular stuff. And again, these are all Red Label games, all fairly early-ish PlayStation 5 games. First up, but this one's not a rarity or anything, but this was a nice find at car boot sale last year, I think it was. So it's Biohazard 5. So I've already mentioned this game once with the Steelbook, but this is the actual Japanese version of it as well, with a different cover and obviously Biohazard. So yeah, like that one. That's one of my favourite sort of pickups from a car boot sale, just coming across that one. So yeah, Biohazard. We've got GTA 4. Of course, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Battlefield Bad Company, and the game that started it all, Assassin's Creed. I'm not a massive fan of the first Assassin's Creed game. It was a great idea, I just found it a bit dull. Obviously they perfected it for Assassin's Creed 2, but yeah, this one I wasn't as keen on particularly. Right, next lot, we've also got another Call of Duty, of course, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, absolute classic. Another classic actually, Call of Duty World at War. One of my favourite Call of Duty games, that one. F1 Championship Edition. And like I said before, these are in no order whatsoever. F1 Championship Edition. We've got Facebreaker, which is actually not a bad little kind of cartoony boxing game. It's not bad actually, that. We've got Devil May Cry 4. Not one of my favourite Devil May Cry's, that one, must admit. SOCOM Confrontation. Def Jam Icon. Valkyria Chronicles. Not played that one. Blazing Angels 2. Secret Missions of World War II. Another flying game. Tom Clancy's Hawks. I do like that one. And then, of course, you've got to have this on. The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. This one is the Game of the Year edition. And then Virtua Fighter 5. I don't mind Virtua Fighter. It's not. I'm not a massive fan of kind of 3D beat 'em ups, fighting games, whatever. Virtua Fighter isn't always my sort of go-to. I probably would go more towards Dead or Alive with that kind of game. I've played this one a little bit. It's all right. Tomb Raider Underworld. Do love that Tomb Raider trilogy. Classic. Dead Space. One of the greatest sci-fi horror, survival horror games ever made. Dead Space. We've got Haze. This was rubbish, unfortunately. Last game from Free Radical, who made Time Splitters. Absolutely amazing games. This was going to be a Halo killer. How many times have we heard that over the years? It was not. It was nowhere near, sadly. Virtua Tennis 3. That was one of the first games I picked up when I started collecting again. I got this I think probably a charity shop for about, probably in like a 4 for £1 or something like that, Virtua Tennis 3. Yeah, but it's not a bad tennis game, that one. Sega Rally, great racing game, that one. Star Wars The Force Unleashed, I do like that one, prefer it to the second one. Fallout 3, not a huge fan of Fallout games. I always say I'm not a fan of these like absolute classic games. All these series that people absolutely love, GTA, Red Dead, Fallout's another one. I just don't get on with these games. I just don't have the patience for them, I don't think. I'm always ready. I always start a game and I'm always like get halfway through it and I'm ready to play the next game. And when a game is as long as sort of like Fallout and those kind of games, I just lose patience. So I have played Fallout 3 a little bit, but not for the like full amount of time that you need to complete it or see the most of it. We've got Prince of Persia. Great front cover on that one. Great artwork. Do like that. Some people don't like this game, but I think it's okay. Quite like that one with the sort of cell shaded graphics. A little bit different. 007 Quantum of Solace. Really good Bond game, that one. Can't wait for First Light next year. But yeah, this is a good Bond game, that one. TNA Impact. I think this is one of the most underrated wrestling games ever. It's quite basic in a way for a wrestling game, but I really enjoy it. I've always quite enjoyed TNA Impact. Such an amazing roster of wrestlers in this game as well. It plays like or looks like a sort of WWE Hall of Fame game almost now with the people that are in it. Angle, Booker T, Christian, Dudley's. Who else is in there? I can't think. There's loads of ex-WWE guys in there, and obviously some of the TNA originals with AJ Styles and Chris Daniels and Samoa Joe, and I think Abyss is in it as well. I think Abyss is in it. I think so. But I quite like TNA Impact. Great Medal of Honor game, Airborne. I think this is a bit of a underappreciated gem as well. The Bourne Conspiracy. I like that game, I really do. And speaking of First Light before, I'm kind of hoping First Light is a bit like this game in a way. We've got Pure. Have I got that one twice? I'm sure I might have a Steelbook for that. I might be wrong. Not sure. But Pure, Off-Road Racer. Shaun White Snowboarding. One of the many snowboarding games that I've got. Another copy of Resident Evil 5, so that's 3 copies of Resident Evil 5 on the PS3. And I've never actually played it on the PS3, played it on the Xbox 360, never played it on the PS3, and I've got 3 copies of it. The Life of a Collector, absolute modern masterpiece, BioShock, amazing game, absolutely love this, can't wait to see what the TV show's like. Damnation, not great, not a very good game this one, sadly. Like the idea of it, but yeah, not very good. This must have been another charity shop pickup. NBA 2K7. Basketball's not really my thing. Yeah. And then this is the last from the pile that is kind of spread around my lower reaches of the collection and not on the top shelf up there. Conflict Denied Ops. I've still not played this one, but it looks alright. It's kind of another one of those where I think you need to play it to try and kind of experience it and see what it's like. It has sort of very mixed reviews, so I wouldn't mind giving it a go at some point. Yeah, Conflict Denied Ops. Cheers everybody, so we're about halfway through the Red Label games, which you'll be quite pleased of, I know, because these videos can go on, and so I'll try and get through these as well. So we've got Lost Planet Extreme Conditions, like that one, great game, great front cover as well. Lost Planet, Capcom. Yeah, I do like that. We've got Clive Barker's Jericho. Yeah, it's alright. Mercenaries 2 World in Flames. Again, I wasn't that bothered with this one. I did like the PlayStation 2 version, or the PlayStation 2 game, I should say. But yeah, the sequel was a bit, I don't know, just lacked something for me. Not played this one. Bladestorm, the 100-Year War. Bladestorm, the 100-Year War. I've not played this one yet. It's been sat on the shelf for a while, actually. Looks alright. It's a bit Dynasty Warriors type game, I think. Yeah, probably. With strategy or something in it as well. Black Site. This was kind of like the unofficial sequel to the excellent Area 51. Nowhere near as good as that game. Yeah, it kind of missed the mark again, this one. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just not as good as Area 51. If you've never played that, it's well worth a play on PS2 and Xbox. But the sequel, Black Site, not quite as good. Terminator Salvation, I quite like this game. It's a little bit rough and ready, but I do quite like Terminator games. So Terminator Salvation, I quite like that. Again, I've not played this one. Dynasty Warriors 6. Fracture, another game. One of the sort of things in the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era was that, you know, a lot of these developers and stuff were not afraid to give stuff a go. And there's a lot of games like Fracture, you know, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, where they get like the basis of a game and throw a bit of a gimmick. There's a few games like this. I'm thinking of like Time Shift and Haze to a degree, I suppose. And Fracture was another one of these. It was one where you sort of are able to kind of reshape the sort of landscape of Battlefield almost. It's a great idea. Excuse me, I've got hiccups now. It's a great idea in theory, but yeah, it just doesn't quite work for some reason. Yeah, again, not absolutely terrible, but not that great either. Man, we've got Burnout Paradise. Was that the last Burnout game? I think it was the last Burnout game, wasn't it? Burnout Paradise. I know there was like remastered versions of it, but Unreal Tournament 2, I should say. Was it 2? It was 3. Unreal Tournament 3. Yeah, I've not played this one. Not played that game. Yeah. Carla Juarez Bound in Blood. I think this one was okay. It was the Cartel, which was really rubbish, wasn't it? But yeah, Bound in Blood. You know, I always drop these piles when they, you know, start building up. They always fall over. Fuel, another off-road racer. A bit more kind of open world off-road racer, this one. It's one of the most annoying PlayStation 3 games because the title is upside down on the spine. It just really annoys me. Jaeger on the Xbox is another one. Why would you do that? Why did they do that? But yeah, Fuel, half decent game, that one. Race Driver Grid. John Woo presents Stranglehold. Surprisingly decent game, this one. It's very sort of cinematic, obviously, with it being by John Woo. It's all dual-wield guns, doves flying everywhere, slow-mo action, that sort of thing. Quite like that. Chow Yun Fat. Sonic Unleashed. Not the world's greatest Sonic game. Not the worst Sonic game either. But yeah, not too bad, that one. I've not played this one yet. Full Auto 2 Battle Lines. I've not played this one yet because I've still sort of been trying to get into the first one on Xbox 360. I had no idea about this game. But yeah, Full Auto 2. One of my absolute favourites. Less so on the PlayStation 3, more on the Xbox 360. But either way, I just love this game. Street Fighter 4. Awesome game. Great front cover. Do love that. This was a really early PS3 game. Lair. Very heavily reliant on the PlayStation 3 motion control of on the Dual Shock or Dual whatever it was, 6-axis, that's the word. Yeah, it didn't really work. Great idea again, but just not particularly well executed. But yeah, Lair. Oops. And then we got Soul Calibur 4 with Darth Vader as the special character for this version of it. And then The Darkness. I do love The Darkness. Great game. Wasn't so bothered with the sequel particularly, but the first one, great game, The Darkness. If you've never played it, well worth a look. Enemy Territory Quake Wars. And then we've got The Chronicles of Riddick. What's this one? Assault on Dark Athena. So Butcher Bay was the first game on Xbox, and it was an exclusive on the Xbox. Absolutely amazing game. That is actually included on here, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. And yeah, Dark Athena's not too bad. Not quite as good as Butcher Bay. It's more of the same in a way, but yeah, it's a good one, that one. I quite like that. I've not played this one yet. Genji Days of the Blade. Sometimes these ones, especially these kind of games with the covers and that, I tend to pick them up just because they're cheap and I like the front covers. But I never actually get time to play them. And this is the sort of typical example of it. But Genji Days of the Blade. Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. That has to have been a car boot sale pickup, I think. Awful film. Absolutely wretched film. I quite like the first Michael Bay Transformers film. I don't think it's too bad. But the other Transformers films, and there's been about, what, 16 of them? I don't know. They're just awful. And this one wasn't very good either. Right, moving on. Wipeout HD Fury. Love that one. Great game. Love the Wipeout series. But this is brilliant on PlayStation 3. Do love that. It's one of my favourite PlayStation 3 games, I'd say. Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Good games, but I just don't get on with Ninja Gaiden. They're just too damn hard. I am a bit of a wimp when it comes to these types of games. Looks great, but yeah, I'd never get to play them for that long because I just get beat. Silent Hill Homecoming, one of the only Silent Hill games I own. In fact, the only Silent Hill game that I own, sadly. The cheapest one as well, I think. It is the cheapest, I think. But yeah, Silent Hill Homecoming. I've not played it yet. I'm currently playing, spoiler, Silent Hill 2 Remake on PS5. Absolutely loving that game. We'll talk about that more at the end of the month. So once I finish that, maybe I'll give this a look. I don't think it's as good, but yeah, Silent Hill Homecoming, the only Silent Hill game I own physically. Now, one of the biggest disappointments for me in the PS3 generation, Folklore. I've spoken about this game quite a bit over the last few months because I got it this year. I was looking forward to playing it. I have tried to play it. It looks decent. It has this really intriguing storyline. I love the idea of it, the kind of setting and everything. But it's just incredibly dull to actually play. The actual core game is really dull. And I was really disappointed. I was really let down with it. It's not awful, but there's just not a lot to it. So yeah, just one of the, I was just really looking forward to playing this, and it just hasn't clicked with me. Maybe I'll go back to it in a few years' time and see what it's like. But yeah, I was really disappointed with it. Midnight Club LA, decent street racer, that one. Little Big Planet, one of the staples of the PlayStation 3. Now, we've got two of these at the same time. So one of these I've played that one. I've not played this one. So Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction and Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time. I have played that one. I like it. I do like Ratchet and Clank. There's about 12 different Ratchet and Clank games on the PlayStation 3. These are the two that I've got. The cheapest, obviously. I'd like to add some of the other Ratchet and Clank games though to my collection for the PS3. But yeah, they're just not mega expensive or anything like that, but just a bit more pricey than these two. So yeah, Crack in Time, I do quite like that one. And yeah, Tools of Destruction. And we've got the Orange Box with my second favourite game of all time, Half-Life 2. Awesome game. And Portal. Ghostbusters, the video game, which isn't bad. It's okay. If you like Ghostbusters, it's probably the best Ghostbusters game you can play. Probably. Again, another very early PlayStation 3 game, Heavenly Sword. This is one of those games where a lot of people, when you see people talking about Heavenly Sword, they kind of call it this like classic game. It's so many people seem to love this game. I've never been that impressed with it. It looks fantastic. Considering how early it came out, it was a launch game, I think. It looks impressive. It still looks quite impressive now. But there's the actual game again. There's not a huge amount to it, and you could say that about some of these PlayStation 3 games. They look great. The idea is great, but the actual game itself, there's not a huge amount to it. It's just a bit of a hack and slash game. Yeah. Heavenly Sword. It's one of those where I'm on the shelf. I don't hate it. I just don't think it's absolutely brilliant or anything like that particularly. I'm surprised they've never gone back to it though. Like made sequels for it or anything like that. Who knows, one day. Heavenly Sword. Then we've got Motorstorm Pacific Rift. Good game, that one. Do like that one. GT5 Prologue, or Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. And then Ridge Racer 7. Kane and Lynch Deadman. I like that one. Came along around the same time as Army of Two. Very much when like these sort of co-op kind of shooters, third-person shooters were doing the rounds. Army of Two and this came out roughly the same time. I always preferred Kane and Lynch just because of the sort of dynamic between these two characters and how weird they both are. So yeah, it's a good game, that one. Kane and Lynch Deadman. Like that. Surprised they never made a movie of that. That would be quite a good movie, I think. Unless there's a movie hidden away somewhere, I don't know, but I've never heard of it. Arguably... Ooh, should I be saying this now? I was going to say arguably the best game on the PlayStation 3. I may have committed too early there, but I'll show you what it is. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Certainly one of the best games on the PlayStation 3. And the reason, along with Metal Gear Solid 4, that I wanted to get a PlayStation 3 back in the day. I knew Drake's Fortune had come out already as well, but I actually played Uncharted 2 first and then went back to Drake's Fortune. So for me, yeah, Uncharted 2, absolute banger of a game. Do love this. I know I've spoken about it before because I've got the Steelbook as well, but yeah, absolutely amazing game, Uncharted 2. And speaking of which, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Again, it's another game, a bit like Assassin's Creed, I thought, where all the sort of building blocks were there for a great series. The game's good, but not quite there. Uncharted 2 for me perfected everything. This is still a decent game, still a very good game in fact. But Uncharted 2 just took it to that next level. The sequel just improved on it in every way. But yeah, Drake's Fortune, still a very good game. We're nearly there now. Motorstorm, the original Motorstorm. Was that a release game? I think that was a release game. Launch day release. And then we've got Resistance 2. I've done these in awful order. Resistance Fall of Man, the first Resistance game. And Resistance 2. Great first-person shooters. The only issue that I have with Resistance, in a way, is I have never been a massive fan of first-person shooters on the PlayStation 3 playing with this controller, just because... maybe it's because, you know, I played a lot of Xbox 360 back in that generation, and for my money, modern day controllers, the Xbox 360 controller is just the best controller. Retro controller, I'd say the SNES. But the 360 one is just practically perfect. Absolutely amazing for first-person shooters. But these two sticks, for me, and even now I struggle with FPSs on playing with these with this controller and these sticks. There's just something lacking with them. I don't know what the technical term for it is. But yeah, I've just never really got on with first-person shooters massively on the PS3, mainly because of that. But I have played these two, and they are good. They are good. I just think if you could play it with an Xbox 360 pad, they'd be even better, personally. But yeah, Resistance 2 is very good. Again, another sequel which sort of built on the first game and improved it in every way. We're nearly there now. I've got Fear 2. I still need to get Fear 1. Whenever I go out and about, whenever I see Fear on the shelf, I'm never quite sure if I've got Fear or Fear 2. I can never remember, so I never actually ever end up picking up Fear, the first game, because I'm just never 100% sure. I need to tattoo it to my arm or something like that. You've got Fear 2. So yeah, at one point I'd like to pick up the first Fear. I have played them, they are good. Again, you know, sort of twitchy with the controls. I think I played them on the Xbox 360 to be fair as well. But yeah, good games. Do like the Fear games. Not played 3 yet though. Mentioned this one before, but this is the standard version of it. Infamous, brilliant game. The best sort of non-comic book superhero game you can play, I think. Infamous and Infamous 2. So yeah, great game, that one. We've also got the Sega Mega Drive Ultimate Collection. Been playing this recently, actually. Some of the games that I haven't got on the Mega Drive yet, I've been trying some of those games on this, so great collection that. And second to last, Wet, which is actually not a bad game actually. Third person hack and slash shoot 'em up type game, very kind of Tarantino in a way, but yeah, not a bad game, that one. So of the Red Label PlayStation 3 games, I always save my favourite game until the last. And so I was looking through the Red Label ones that I've got, and probably my favourite one from that kind of early part of the PlayStation 3's lifespan is this one, Mirror's Edge. Just one of my favourite games. I just absolutely love Mirror's Edge. I know a lot of people aren't particularly fond of it because the controls are quite cumbersome. They take a lot of getting used to, a lot of practice. A lot of the kind of, especially when trying to do it at pace as well. I'm thinking of like the double wall jump can be quite tricky to pull off when you're trying to hurry through the levels. But in general, I think it's one of those games where practice pays off, and I just genuinely love this game. Again, I did sort of play it more on the Xbox 360, but both versions for me are just as good. I know there's a lot of differences between versions on PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, particularly sort of the early games anyway. But yeah, Mirror's Edge for me, it's one of my favourite games from that generation, one of my favourite games of all time. I just love everything about it, the sort of visuals of it, the use of colour throughout the whole game, the music, the score, just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I just love this game so much. So Mirror's Edge on the PlayStation 3. So that is it for the first part of my PlayStation 3 collection, the Red Label games. Next, I will do, obviously, the Black Label games. I think roughly it'll be about the same amount, something like that. I think. I could be wrong there. I'll have to do a bit of a count. I don't know how many games I've got in total for the PS3. But yeah, hopefully it'll be roughly about the same amount. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that quick look through the PS3 collection, part 1. Keep your eye out for part 2. That will come in the next few weeks, I would think. But yeah, let me know which was your favourite out of that lot. Let me know what your favourite PlayStation 3 game of all time is. Get that into the comments. I'll always try to reply. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.